It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview an LPGA Tour golfer, Tracy Hanson. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. How about you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into professional golf?
Well, I think it was a process for me. So I grew up in the Northwest where we have snow during the winter. So I only played golf during the summertime and I played basketball during the wintertime. And so when I went to college, I was kind of an amateur, or average golfer coming into the collegiate ranks. And so it was probably about my junior year of college that I really started to believe that I could play professionally.
What was it like playing college golf for San Jose State?
It was an interesting experience. I think I was meant to be there. San Jose is a downtown school, so it's not, well, when I was playing there. Today, it's a little bit different. So it wasn't like a huge college community experience, but San Jose State had a great golf team. We were always ranked in the top 1, 2, or 3. And I enjoyed our coach. He was a retired Air Force colonel. So there was no hand holding on our team. We had to grow up fast and we had to show up when he said to show up. And we had to do a lot of things on our own. And I think that was just really good life lessons and life experience.
What was it like putting on the San Jose golf uniform, the polo jersey?
Yeah, I think anytime an athlete puts on a jersey that's representing something bigger than themselves is not only thrilling, but it comes with a lot of responsibility. And as golfers, typically we're individual athletes. So having that team experience and having that camaraderie and playing together for each other for the university was something special for sure.
What was the feeling like of playing on the 92 national team?
Yeah, the interesting thing about that year is that we actually, the year prior in 91, tied for first and lost in a playoff. And because somebody knocked it in from the fairway for an eagle. So our team was very hungry to win the championship. And we worked all year with that goal in mind. And the 92 championship actually came down to the last hole. Our team was waiting on the green for our final player to come down the 18th fairway, which was Lisa Walton. And all she had to do was make a 4 and we'd win the championship. So it was for her to, she made par, we won the championship. And for all the work that we did to get to that point, to be number 1 in the nation was it really was an exceptional experience.
What's the feeling like of hoisting up the 92 trophy?
A lot of pride in our team, in our university, to be a part of something historical. That was the 3rd time the San Jose State women's golf team had won a championship. It's just something that goes down in history and something that you do with the team, and that's special.
What's it like being a part of the 91 women's amateur team?
I think you're referring to the 1991 U.S. Women's Amateur Public Links Championship. And that's a USGA event that no longer is played, but it's for public golfers. And I had a good showing in 1990. So in 91, I played some of the best golf I had ever played up to that point in my career. I won a lot of my matches very handedly. And when I got to the championship match, it was 36 holes against Kerry Wood, and it came down to the 36th hole. I had to make an up and down for par to win. And that was a monumental experience for me because it was the biggest championship I'd ever won. And still feeling like this small town girl from Idaho just achieved something on the national level. So that was really exciting.
What was it like playing in the ladies opening in 94?
The 1994 Indonesian Ladies Open was one of 4 Asian events that we played for what was called the Asian Tour. And the week before, I finished second in Malaysia. So coming into Indonesia, I was playing well. I had a caddy that didn't speak English. But interesting enough, I was behind going into the last 9 holes to Emily Klein. And I kind of kicked it into a new gear. And I think I had maybe 2 birdies and an eagle to tie. And then I knocked it to 2 inches on the first playoff hole. So it was a thrilling experience for sure to win any professional event. And to do it in Indonesia was fun.
What was it like for you coming from San Jose State to obviously playing in the LPG Tour?
I came from a small town in Idaho, so it was a huge transition to go from Idaho to San Jose State in the San Jose Bay Area. And then to go from college golf to professional golf. Back in that era, it was a big stepping stone. A lot of girls usually took a couple years to get comfortable on tour. And I actually had a decent rookie year. I competed for the Rookie of the Year title. I got edged out by one of my teammates, Pat Hurst. So I feel like it took me a little bit of time to kind of get my feet on the ground, to feel like I belonged, to feel like I had some good rounds and some good tournaments. But it was a thrilling way to start my career in 1995 on the LPGA.
What was it like going to Europe and going to the Ladies Europe Tour in 94?
Yeah, the reason why I had to do that is because I missed my getting my LPGA Tour card in 1993 for the 94 season. So that was the same year I played in Asia. I played 5 events in Europe and then some on our mini tour, the Futures Tour here in the States. I would say it was for 4 weeks in a row, I drove around Europe. It was a great life experience, being able to be in different cultures, different countries, having to navigate the travel before there was Garmin or GPS on our phones. So we had a lot of fun. Some of the girls would travel together from one location to the next. And it was just really, I played great golf. And so it was a great experience for me, not only as a person, a young woman, but also as a young professional golfer.
What was it like traveling and going internationally to play golf versus just staying domestically?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brandon. So the competitive golf is the same. It's you still tee it up on hole number 1 and you have to finish on hole 18. Some of the courses are different, when you're talking about links courses and that, but we're all competitors. And I think the biggest difference is that just culturally. So when you go to Europe, you're dealing with different languages. And I will first admit that I'm terrible with languages and I'm not proud of that. And so that's always a challenge when you go to a foreign country as an American speaking or English speaking person to just navigate their culture. In the US, when we're playing, everything's comfortable. We know kind of how we do things in America, and things are more repeatable and more comfortable, and usually around more of your friends, and that makes it a little bit more enjoyable as well.
What was it like obviously having that international experience, not just having the domestic side?
Yeah, I think it made me a better golfer for sure, and more well-rounded. Some of my international experience started when I was a junior golfer playing in Mexico and Canada. And then in college golf, we played in Japan, and then in 1994 overseas. So I think it helped me be a more well-rounded golfer in person, for sure.
What was it like going to British and playing in 2001?
I don't remember where we played in 2001, but I had already played several British Opens by then. And the interesting thing about the British Open, when I first started going over there, we played in one location called Woburn. And so I think this was before 2001. And it was a lonely experience, actually. So while it wasn't a major championship then, but it was a well-known championship. It was an honor to be there. And it was really lonely because I didn't have somebody to travel with and stay with, and new place to be, long ways away from home. So it took me a few British Opens before I was really comfortable playing the event.
What was it like going to the U.S. Women's Opening in 2006?
Well, again, I'm not sure where we played in 2006, Brandon. You'd have to find that out. I think every U.S. Open that I played more than a handful. The U.S. Open is its own animal. The courses are extremely tough. It's a test of endurance. The scores are never going to be low. So you could be above par and never be far out of having a good finish. So the U.S. Open is always exciting. The fans are amazing. The atmosphere is electric. I've had some really good finishes at the U.S. Open, and I have had some really bad finishes at the U.S. Open. But I will say, I don't know if it was in 2006, but one of my highlights is making it a hole-in-one at one of the U.S. Opens at Pumpkin Ridge.
What was that feeling like of making it hole-in-one?
Every hole-in-one, well, a lot of people haven't had any. I've had 7, and every one was different. But the one that I made at the U.S. Open was on a kind of a tiny par 3, but it had I don't know, maybe 1,000 people standing around the green, tucked into some trees. And so when the ball went in the hole, it was like a football stadium erupting. It was loud and crazy and electricity in the air, and it just goes right through your body. And it's actually hard to calm down after the experience. So it's definitely thrilling to make a hole-in-one.
What are some of your game day routines and rituals that you have before you obviously tee it up?
Yeah, another great question, Brandon. Everybody does a little bit different. My typical routine would be to get to the golf course about an hour and a half before tee time, do some stretching in our fitness van, grab something to eat, and then get onto the putting surface at least 1 hour before my tee time. And I'd spend maybe 15, 20 minutes putting short putts first, and then leg putts, getting used to the speed of the greens, maybe do a couple chips. And then I'd head over to the driving range, practice range, and work my way through my bag. I always started with my wedges or my sand wedge to warm up. And before I played, I'd always use my odd clubs. So 9, 7, 5, and then head into the woods. After I played, I'd use my evens. So I'd go from pitching wedge, 8 iron, 6 iron, 4 iron, if I was carrying one at that time. So just some little things. Every player has their different nuances to that, but that's kind of what I did.
What was the feeling like being inducted in 2003 to the NGCA?
Yeah, that was a special honor because that's the National Golf Coaches Association. And so that honor isn't solely based on your performance. It's also based on the relationships and how college coaches view you as a well-rounded player and person. And I was really had a fortunate experience in college. I won 11 individual titles and plus the NCAA team championship that we've already talked about. So to be honored by the coaches who watched me play, who coached against our team, was really a special honor. We had a nice banquet in Orlando, Florida, and yeah, it's definitely one of the honors that I hold dear to my heart.
What was the transition like from you from putting down the golf clubs when you retired to obviously what you're doing now?
Yeah. I retired in 2009 from the LPGA Tour. And at that point, it always surprises people when I say I actually hated the game of golf. And I was ready to be done. I was ready to never play again. I was ready to don't even talk to me about golf. So some of that's about my personal story, and some of that's just about being exhausted and burned out and tired. So it was probably maybe a year to year and a half that took me to get to the point of saying that I was done. And then when I was done, I was done. I really didn't look back.
What are some of the things that you do now after retiring?
Yeah. So after retiring, in the first couple of years, I did something completely different. I worked for a neuropsychologist with working with the brain, doing brain assessments, doing some coaching around breathing with some athletes, and learned a ton about just our nervous system and how our body works. And that was really enjoyable and a great learning experience. And then I went into some personal counseling where I needed some help. I needed to care for my heart and the feelings and emotions that I had been carrying for over 25 years. And it's really out of that work, out of getting care and help for myself, that I then started a nonprofit. And in my nonprofit work, I am about creating safe spaces for elite athletes to talk about their stories of trauma and training for sports leaders who are working with those athletes.
It's amazing that you started a nonprofit. What advice would you give the college players looking to go into professional golf?
I think the number one advice that I give is to have a game plan. If it's a passion and a desire and a vision, one, it has to be their vision, not somebody else's. And then two, have a plan. It can't be okay, for the next 6 months, I'm going to try this. It has to be like 2, 3, 4, 5-year plan, because the professional golf is extremely competitive, and you have to work your way into the process. You have to work your way through the mini tour, the developmental tour, to get to the big tour. And it takes time. It takes time to develop your game. It takes time to develop your confidence and your mental skills. So that's my number one advice, is to really set a game plan and stay to the game plan.
What advice would you give current and future professional golfers looking to get onto the LPG Tour?
Patience, perseverance, endurance, and be ready for failure. So I think for those looking to play professional golf, you really need a good team of people around you that cares for you regardless of golf. It's that they care for you. They're a part of your life, not because you're a golfer, but just because of who you are. And it's really, it's a lonely profession. And it's easy to kind of get to be down emotionally, to get sidetracked. And so you really need a good team of people, or a good group of people around you, to help you stay focused.
What advice would you give those professional golfers looking to transition from playing golf to obviously putting down the clubs and getting into something else?
Yeah, it's kind of a unique transition for each golfer. I'm having quite a few of those conversations right now with some lady female professionals. And I think the biggest thing is if you've lost the passion, lost the discipline to practice and play and enjoy being on the golf course, then it's time to start thinking about something else. And I'm a big proponent that if you can keep playing for a little while you're investigating other passions, then to do that. The other thing that I think is really important for professionals of really any sport looking to retire is that it's okay. You have permission to do something different. And a lot of athletes get stuck in this. Well, my identity is who I am based on the sport that I do and my success in that sport. And that is probably one of the biggest hindrances for professionals who are ready and want to do something else and they don't do it. So we are not what we do based on our performance. It is a part of our life and we are so much more. And to go chase some new passion and take time. It doesn't have to, you don't have to know that right away. So take time, be kind to yourself, and really pay attention to how your body feels in the whole process as well.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
On social media, on Instagram and Facebook, it's at Tracy Hanson Initiative. So Tracy Hanson Initiative. And then my website is tracyhanson.com. Yeah, those are probably the three biggest places. I don't do a lot on social media, but every now and then.
Thank you again, Tracy Hanson, for your interview, and best of luck in your future wherever it may hold you.
Thank you, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Tracy Hanson, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.